The next is speed of rotation. How fast that sprinkler turns has an effect on its performance. We can get a sprinkler that turns so fast that it starts losing its range. If it starts spinning too fast, you start getting rotational effect on the water and it won't traject out as far. It'll start bending if it's going too fast, the stream bends and you lose range. Now there's lots of conditions where we have to be really concerned about the speed of rotation. If we're working on frost protection, we need to have relatively high speed of rotation, like at least 2 revolutions a minute, just so the sprinkler won't freeze up in a frost or an ice condition. So we have to have that thing moving fast enough so it doesn't end up freezing in place. Plus we want to distribute that water pretty rapidly. We also like to see that happen in cooling. In turf, we really like to see high-speed sprinklers for syringing greens. On really hot days, we want to be able to go out in the middle of the afternoon and put 1 or 2 revolutions of water on the surface of a green just so that there's beads of water to evaporate to create that evaporative cooling and cool the surface of the turf down so that we don't end up damaging generally the bent or the poa grasses that are on the greens. We've got to cool that surface off, and we can do it by evaporative cooling, and we can do is just put on a couple of quick passes of water. There are turf rotors designed specifically for that purpose. High-speed rotors that are designed for greens and grass tennis courts, lawn bowling areas, any place where they have really, really close-cut turf that might need to have cooling take place during hot afternoons. And some days it might take 2 different cycles of syringing. You get down in the desert in Southern California, in Arizona, in Nevada, and there's some extreme heat in that part of the country, and they may have to syringe a couple of times a day just to keep that grass cooled down so they can maintain quality turf. So speed has a couple of benefits, and it also can be detrimental if you get it going too fast. Like these rotators, if we lose the silicone in them, then they become a spinner all of a sudden. The minute they become a spinner, they don't throw the water near as far. And so if we're looking at the width of the pattern that we're trying to throw, and if that's critical, we have to keep the speed slow enough so that we don't start losing range to the rotational forces that are occurring on that stream of water. Next piece is the vane. Inside these sprinklers, we can rifle the water effectively. We can streamline it with a vane. Now this vane is built into some of the plastic molded sprinklers. On these particular impacts, it's an insert, and it simply goes right into the throat of the sprinkler, and as the water comes up and turns to go out the sprinkler head, it gets straightened out because it's quite a turbulent deal. We're taking it and turning it almost 90 degrees. In this case, it's 15 degrees off of 90. So we're turning it 75 degrees before we send it out that nozzle. And that water's tumbling all over itself when it comes up into this neck and has to turn all of a sudden, an abrupt turn, to go out the nozzle. Well, what this vane does is it straightens it right back out. It straightens it right back out before it gets to the nozzle, which improves the range up about 10%. It'll throw the water about 10% more by doing that. And it just fits right into the throat, and there it is. And then the nozzle threads on the outside. Now we looked at the big gun. It already has, in the aluminum extrusion, they've extruded the vanes right in the tube on the big gun. And we looked at that the other day. We looked right down the throat of that thing and saw those vanes. Yes.
Straightening the water, does that also affect the pattern we put out?
But question is, does the straightening of the water affect the pattern? It will allow more water to go further out the distance of the throw. Yes, that is absolutely true. So you're getting more water further away from the center of the head. Okay, next is spacing. And spacing needs to be demonstrated to show what happens. Let's take a look at the ground surface here. And we'll put a sprinkler every, say we got ourselves a system, we got a sprinkler every X number of feet. Out here in turf, turf is the most critical crop that we're going to grow. I'll dense them up here so I can, because you see every flaw in a field of turf. You look out on a lawn and you can have a beautiful lawn. There might be 5,000 square feet of lawn out there in a residence and one brown spot that's 1 square foot. And where does your eye go? Right to the brown spot. That's all you remember is the brown spot. You don't remember that 4,999 other square feet that were just beautiful green grass. So it is so critical to water turf perfectly. And we get real close to that, and we can make sure we don't have brown spots. You know, if you're out on a golf green and you're going to go out and try to putt, and you all of a sudden you have to go over a dead patch of grass because it doesn't get watered right, you're going to be pretty upset. You might want your money back. Golf course can't afford to do that. Those greens have to be perfect. And so you make sure they get watered perfect. And we can do that. That's things we learn how to do in this business.